Hello and welcome back. It's puzzle time with Sudoku Sleuth, and today we're playing another cloudy day. Now, I don't know about where you live, but here in London, I don't know, just is it London or probably large parts of the UK, we have what's called almost like a false spring. So, roughly around Chinese New Year, essentially the weather starts to turn, and we actually get some very early blossoms here in the parks near us. But then we get this cold snap once again, and it was actually freezing for the last couple of days, with sort of ice sheets everywhere. And we're almost back to almost like middle of winter, with lots of clouds, of course, lots of rain. It's pretty miserable and grey right now. Hopefully you're having slightly better weather where you live. So that's kind of what's happening here in the thumbnail. It's another cloudy day, there's lots of grey clouds in the sky, and Sleuth is just sitting up on top of a hill in the park, just taking it all in, waiting for the break into spring. Let's take a look at today's puzzle. Now, I don't know about you guys, but I've been kind of really enjoying going back to some of these simpler puzzles with simpler rule sets. And we have something that is kind of a fairly familiar territory if you're playing a lot of variant Sudoku puzzles. So the rule sets are place the digits 1 to 9 once each in every row, in every column, and in every 3x3 box, We also have killer cages. Doesn't need to specify that it's unique numbers because the cages are always in the same box, row, or column. I say row or column. So take these three cells, for example, that are outlined by the dashed line. They must sum up to an 8. These would need to sum up to 15, and so on and so forth. Then we have German whispered lines. So adjacent digits along a green line must have a difference of at least 5. So if you imagine if this cell, for example, here is 2, this would have to be from 7, 8, or 9 to be 5 or more away, then back to a low digit from 1, 2, 3, or 4, depending on what this value is. And the idea is it oscillates between low digits, 1, 2, 3, 4, and high digits, 6, 7, 8, 9. Lastly, we have Kropke dots. There are 2 of them. There's the black dot, which means they're in a 2 to 1 ratio. So these cells, one of them has to be the double of the other. If that's a 2, this would be 1 or 4. We also have consecutive digits. If that's a 2, this would have to be 1 or 3 to make sure that they are only 1 apart. Or 2 times 2 is 4, 1 times 2 is 2, as in doubles. So, fairly straightforward set of rules. I don't know if it's meant to represent sort of like cloud cover with the German whisper lines, or almost like bad weather. Maybe. Although I feel like I'm reaching a little bit here. So, another cloudy day by Cloudy. If you feel like, you're struggling with the cloudy weather right now and you favor a little bit of nice Sudoku puzzles to play along, link will be in the description down below. And with that said, I'm going to restart the clock, see how I get on. So what really caught my attention when I was looking around the grid is actually this 22 cage. Not necessarily because it's forced. Actually, let's start with the one that is forced, 1, 2, and 4. 3 cells adding up to a 7. It can only be 1, 2, and 4. There's no other set of digits that will add up to 7. Now, back to the 22 cage. So the reason that sort of caught my attention is, as I'm pretty sure that allows us to get polarity on this. And the reason is, if you think about 22, there's actually only 2 ways of making 22. So the way to think about it is, if you don't have a 9 in this cage, the maximum it can be would be 6, 7, and 8, which is only 21. So you know that you need to have a 9 inside the 22 cage, and then you're left with 13. So 13 and 2 digits, well, one of them would be 4, 9. Can't repeat the 9 though, so that's not an option. The other one is 5, 8, and the last one is 6, 7. So if you look at the options of digits, they're clearly all high, and you can't place a 5 on a German whisper line. So, long way of saying, this is red, these are low, and this is high. And actually, column 5 with the 15 cages helps because these are 6, 7, 8, and 9. So take a look at the options that we have here. Well, this clearly can't be 6, 7, 9 anymore. And from 5, 8, 9, the only one that works is a 5 in here. And this now needs to be 8, 9, 8, 9, And we know that all the rest of these are now low digits because we've placed essentially all the high digits, 6, 7, 8, and 9 in the 15 cages. You can only make 15 in two cells in one of two ways. It's either a 6-9 pair or a 7-8 pair. No other ways of doing it. And that gives us polarity on this German whisper line. And we know all of these are high. And I was actually taking a look at row 6 now, just noticing that we basically placed 4 low digits. So I actually know quite a bit because of that. First off, where's the 5 in row 6? Well, it's not this cell where it would conflict in the box. That's 5. And this has to be high so that we have 4 high digits in row 6. But we can do better. Where does 4 go in here? Now, 4 can never be in the middle of a German whisper line where the other two cells can see each other, because they would both have to be 9 to be 5 or more away. And I actually just spotted the error in my logic, because I could do 4 in here, and I could do 4 there. I was actually thinking about 4 here with a 9 and a 9, but that is not actually forced. So I'm glad I actually kind of stepped through my logic, because embarrassingly it was not correct. We don't know what these are, but we can carry on thinking about what this is. And actually I now know what these are. Take a look at column 9. Remember, these are actually all low digits. I've got 1, 2, 3, and I need at least a 4th in here because I've either got 1 purple or 2 greens. And it's clearly not 2 greens, otherwise we'd end up with 5 blues in this column. So purple is blue, green is red. I didn't really explain, but red would be high digits 6, 7, 8, 9. Blue would be low digits 1, 2, 3, 4. So this cell helps, this white crop dot. I need a low digit that is connected to a non-low digit because I've got all of 1, 2, 3, 4 essentially already marked out. If this is another blue digit, I've broken the puzzle. So this has to be a 5. That's a 4. These are not 4s. That's a 4. That has to be now a 3. This is 8, 9. This 4 tells us this is definitely a 9. Not great because it means I still have plenty of options now for the 3. So one of these is a 3, but that's all right. This can't be a 4. This can't be a 4. So these are a 1, 2 pair. The reason neither of them can be a 4 is, well, we've only got the 9s we've already placed in box 3. And if you place a 4 here in the middle, well, what would this cell be? So these are 1, 2, 4. Just classic Sudoku. It can only be up here. And this is, well, this is 7. Can't be 6, adjacent to 1 and 2. And these are 5 and 6 now. Lovely. This is all going unusually smooth. In here we need 2 low digits. 2 high digits. They are 6 and 7. Starting to get very restricted in row 5 there, as you can see. We've already placed a lot of the low digits, 3 of them in fact. I also know that the second low digit, which is a 6, 7, can't be in here in the same box. We've already pencil marked it, and it's not a 5. This is low, again, because it's the 5, and again, I can't place 6, 7, 8, or 9, or 5. This can only be a low digit. Which means we've already placed 4 low digits. One of these is definitely a 3. I didn't mean that line. And unfortunately, this can be a 3. No, it can't be. If this is a 3, that has to be 8 or 9, and it can be neither. So that's not the 3. That is the 3. The only place I can place a 3 would be in here now. And this is correctly 8 or 9, and this is definitely 8 because we already placed a 9. These are 6, 7s. You can immediately tell that this is not the 6 because I can't have a double 1 next to it to be 5 or more away. So that's the 7. This is another 1, 2. This is a 6. And we're making good progress. Because this is not a 6. This is very clever again with the white crop dot, similar to what's been going on in here with the 5. this has to be a high digit. Because with the 6 there, that can't be a 6-5. This has to be a high digit in itself. And then with the interaction with the 15 cage, these have to be 7-8. If I pick any other digits, such as 8-9, sorry, I didn't mean to do that, 8-9, well, I've broken a 15 cage, because apparently now I have 6 and 7 adding up to 15, and that's blatantly not true. So given from the options of 7-8-9 with a definite 8, the answer is it is 7-8. That's a 9, that's an 8. This is now not a 7-8 pair, this is a 6-9 pair, and up here is a 7-8 pair. Don't need the corner pencil marks anymore. Both 1 and 2 work regardless of which one this is. This can now be anything next to the 9. What is this cell? This is not a 5. In fact, 5 can only go here because of this 5-6 pair. This has to be a high digit, which can only be an 8. It's the only one we haven't really placed yet. This is another 1-2. We actually know now what these are. These are 3 7s, just to complete column 8. And we can also pencil mark what these are. These are 6, 8, and 9. And they are all high digits. Don't know if I need to keep coloring, but it's proving useful, so I'm keeping it. In here, we definitely have 3 and 4 with a second 1-2. And I haven't really talked about the 8 cage or the 9 cage, so I think I probably should have a look at these next. And I actually think the 9 cage is the most interesting one, unusually. So if you think about 9 cages, 8 cages I'll come back to in a second, but 9 cage doesn't have to have a 1. One of the options of a 9 cage is 2, 3, and 4. Now imagine this is a 2, 3, 4 cage. What happens to this black Kropke dot? So if you think about options for a black Kropke dot, well, 1, 2, well, I've broken that because the 2 is there. 2, 4 clearly doesn't work. I've already pencil marked them. 4, 8, well, I've already used the 4. And 3, 6, and that doesn't work either because I've already used the 3. So if I go with 2, 3, 4, as in no 1s inside here, I've broken the puzzle. There has to be a 1 in here. I should have done that. Now, I need 2 more digits to add up to 8. So either 2, 6 or 3, 5. So 1... I'm just actually going to think about it this way. So it's either a 5 because of this 5, and this would be a 1-2 pair. Highly unlikely because it's almost certainly a unique puzzle. Did I say 1-2? No, that wouldn't have been... Sorry, 3. That is actually more likely. And then the other possibility is 6 with 1-2. And there's really no restrictions, and I'm not going to use uniqueness to imply any kind of restriction. Let's think about this. 1, 2, 6 is actually quite difficult because it forces this to be 8, 4, and this 8 forces it to be an 8 in here. But it is still solvable. One thing that we do know, though, is there's definitely a 1. The 1s line up between boxes 7 and 8, therefore, sorry, 7 and 9. Therefore, the 1 has to be in row 7 in box 8. What about 1, 3, 5? What happens there? I think I have loads of options. I could do 2, 4. I could do 4, 8. Yeah, loads of options. Okay, I'm going to move on. Right, 8 cage. So 8 cage could be 1, 2, 5 or 1, 3, 4. And we've got all of these cells looking in here. So it's actually a lot more restricted than it may seem. So 5 with a 1, 2, possible. The 4 would have to be in here for a 1, 3, 4 with a 1, 3. So that's kind of fully pencil marked. And again, a definite 1. definite ones in here means the one in box 4 has to be there. It's kind of very partially helpful. It just says that there can't be a 6 anymore on this German whisper line. I'm sort of clutching at straws a bit at this stage. So if we think about it, this is not a 6. It is not an 8. I could have a 9, but I mean, options include 7, because essentially it can't be a 6, and 9 and 8 already on the row, but I can also do 7 and 9 up here. Now, if it's a low digit here with 7, because the 1 is not available, this would have to be a 2. And that's the only possibility. If this is high and this is low, 7 and 2 are forced. The other option, however, if this is 7, or indeed even includes a 9, I have a ton of options now. I could do 1, no, well, not 1, that's pencil marked, 2 or 4. It's not a 3. So let me think about this. There's a lot of pressure if you think about low digits at this point. If this is low, this would have to include a 6. Otherwise, we'll end up with 5 low digits. I'm sure there is easier things for me to pursue, so I should probably just leave that line of thought aside for a second. Take a look elsewhere in the grid. I'm sure there are easier things to pursue. Are there easier things to pursue? Sorry, I'm just doing a quick scan for classic Sudoku. Let's just think about this. This is 1, 2, 3, 4 with a definite 3, 4. It's not a 5, so we've got 3 lows in here. We need 2 highs. We need 6, 7, and 9. We need 2 of them in here. It's just proving quite interesting, but it's not interesting enough to just actually tell me an answer. Let's have a think about this. I feel like I'm missing something obvious because it's been going very, very smoothly up until this point, and that just seems unlikely that it's meant to suddenly jump hugely in difficulty. So is it the black crop dot? Because the white crop dots have been, part of the religious reference, but almost like godsends. So let's just think about what happens if this is 8-4, which is one of the possibilities. Well, we know that it doesn't actually force anything in here, does it? If I go with 1, 2, 6, it does. Because 3, 6 is out, 1, 2, and 4 are out. So that would be 8 and 4. That would be 7. That would be 3. That would be 8 or 9. This is clearly a low digit, whatever it is, because we've got 5 and a 2, well, 4 high digits in here. There's a maximum of 1 high digit in there. So maybe I just need to think about polarity in this row. 1 high digit, 2 high digits, 3 high digits. Where's the 4th? I mean, I can have one in here, but this cell is, if this is low, it puts an immense amount of pressure on everything. Again, it's not enough. I mean, it's all workable. So 8-4 works. Now, I don't think 3-6 works, because this is either 1-2-6 or 1-3-5. So I always use either one of the 3 or the 6. So if this is not 8-4, then the only other possibility would be 2-4. Let's just take a look at what happens with 2-4. So there's a definite 4 in here. These are therefore from 1, 2, and 3. And then if these two are low, this is low, This would have to be high. This would have to be the 7. This would be the 8. This would be 6 or 9. This would be 6 or 9. Which would break. Because if this is 2, 4, no, this would be 1, 3, 5. I am going to sort of pencil mark this, pardon me. So 2, 4, that would be 1, 3, 5. This would be 6 or 9, because that would be 7, that would be 8. This would be 6 or 9, this would be 6 or 9. So that's one possibility. The other possibility, if this is 8, 4, it's kind of like the world is our oyster at this point. We don't actually have to do, there isn't that much pressure anymore. 1, 2, 6 works, and 1, 3, 5 works. Well, 4, I'm going to delete this pencil mark because it's not complete. 4 in box 8 is forced. This has to be a 4 now. There's no other place for it. Then we have a 2, 3, 5 with a definite 5 in here, which removes the 5 there. This is no longer a 1, 3, 5 option. This is a 1, 2, 6 option. This is not a 2, 4 option. This is an 8, 4 option. I don't know if I made this seem a lot harder than it actually was. This is 7, this is 3, this is 7. That's not 8, this is 6 or 9. This is still 6 or 9. Well, it's not a 6. We've got the 1, 2, 6 already pencil marked. That's a 9. That's a 6. None of these are 6s anymore. That 7 gives me an 8 in here, a 9 there, an 8 there, a 6 here, a 9 here. That's not a 6. This has a 1 or 2 with the other 1, 2, means this is not a 2, this is a 3, 5 pair. This is a 1, 2 pair. A 1, 2 pair that lines up. This is definitely a 3, 4. This is another 3, 4. Right, and the ball is moving again. This is a 7. We need in here a 5 and a 3. That 3 gives me the order. That's 3, that's 5. 5 is definitely now up here in this column. Okay, at least that was a very tight squeeze for a second, but, and pardon the colors, it really does help me. Although based on the performance just now, I'm not sure it really has. It's sort of a bit of a challenge kind of working through that. 3, 5, 3, 5, not exactly helpful. Yeah, 8, 9, it's not forcing anything, so I'm going to have to go through a similar exercise trying to figure out what's going on there. Maybe. I am tempted to fully pencil mark these. Right, am I better off fully pencil marking these? I really want to know what this digit is, so I can figure out which one is missing here. I'm just not sure how to do that. So let's think about this again for a moment. So we've got all the high digits in here. And we actually need 6 and 9 on this side. And then if it's a 5 in here, because essentially, yeah, it's tricky. We don't actually know what's missing. We know 1 and 2 are on this end. Because, well, we don't know that. We don't know what this cell is. Tricky. Right, maybe classic Sudoku. Let's just see what's going on. So, right, let's complete this column. This is reasonably well understood. So this is 1, 2, 4, 6, and the 8 is up here. That's not a 4. None of these are 1s. Incredibly, a lot of these are actually still open and available. So how does it interact in here? So this is 1, 2, 5 or 1, 3, 4. 2, 5 would obviously make this a 1, 2 pair, and this would be 4, 6, 8. I don't see a problem with that. 1, 3, 4 would remove the 4 from here. This would be 2, 6, 8, and this would be a 1, 4. And again, I don't see a problem with that. What's interesting, though, is in both scenarios, the 6 is up there. Because it's either, it's either 1, 2, 5, in which case the 2 goes here, or it's 1, 3, 4, in which case the 4 goes here. So we kind of have a virtual 2, 4 pair between all of these. Plus the 1, of course, and the 7, 9. So really, the only thing that we have left is 6, 7, 9 between these two cells. Because 1, 2, 4, 6, 7, 9. With a definite 6. So this is definitely high, as is this cell. These two are definitely low. The 5 can't make it to either of these. So we're already at 3, so it sort of really depends on whether this is a 6 or not. If this is a 1, 2, this becomes 4, 3, 1, and it still works. Sort of. This becomes, if this is 1, 2, this would be 3, 4, this would be 7, this would be 2, this would be 1, 4. So it really does work. If this is a 6, I feel like I'm making this seem harder than it really is, but at the same time, I keep looking at it. I'm not really seeing the break. Where is 7 in box 1? 7 not in 8. Not over here because of this 7. That's the 7. That's an 8. That's a 7. That's not an 8. It's not enough. Let's just keep her running. Oh, no 7s. There's a lot of pressure now. 7 with 2, like highly restricted. I think that's only place in 7 now for this box. Can only be in, oh, hang on, that's not true. That can still be a 7 with a 2. For a second there I thought we had a bit of a break-in, but not yet. Low, low, low. That unfortunately can be a 4, so it doesn't force the 4 in here or there. So many places for 4. Still so many places for 5. Still many places for 6. Only one place for a 9. Now we're kind of back to this dilemma of what is this digit. We know it's not high because the 6 is on this side. All 4 are already done here. So it's either a 5 or a low digit. I'm sort of like, so if this is a 5, that would be a 6. This would be low. This would be 3. This would be 5. It all works. If this is a low digit, well, it's 1, 2, or 4. Doesn't even actually force anything down here. Just says that this is a 6 and this is a 5. Interesting. Am I missing some rules? I don't think I am. This is another low digit. How did I miss this? These are all low now. That's 4 low digits. That's a 9. I'm sure many of you were sort of screaming there. That's a 7. That's 6. That's 7. Sorry about that. I should have seen that way earlier. Kind of went hunting in the wrong place. That's another 6. This is 1, 2. This is red. This has to be low. That's the 4 low digits. That is a 9, which gives me the 8 and the 9 in here. That's not an 8 either. That is an 8. So there's definitely a 3 in there now, because we've got low digits and the only place for 3 is up here. So that is 1, 3, 4. That's not a 5. That's another low digit. Only place for a 5 now, and column 2 is in here. I'm going to continue with coloring, because had I colored, this would have flown a lot more easily. So this is 6 with 2, 4. We still don't know where the 2, 4 is. That's fine. No, that's 1, 3, 4. So there is no 2 in here. That's 1, 3, 4. That's a 1, 3 pair. That's a 4. These are not 4s. This is a 2, 6 pair. There's a definite 4 now. No 2s. This is a 1, 4 pair. That's a 2. 1, 2. That 1 bounces back. That's 3. That's 1. 2, 6. Come on, come on. We're on the home stretch now. We need a 2 somewhere in here, and I actually can't place it yet, because I'm actually capable of having 2, 5, or 6 with a 2. That's all right. Can we do anything about these 1, 2s? They've really lasted. The vast majority of this one is, can it do what we need it to do? No. And no, and no, and no. Okay. The 3, 4 pair, no. Yeah, still fighting every step of the way. It's a fascinating puzzle. It's relatively simple rules, but it really is just sort of pushing you till the very end, really. So, is it going to be another obvious thing that I've missed for ages? I'm not sure, actually. What I'm probably going to do is actually pencil mark more than I should. Yeah, this has to be a low digit. It's not highs. It's not the 5. This is 1, 2, 3, or 4. Can't even remove anything. We've got 2 low digits in here. The 6 is definitely on this side, we did say. So this is only 2 or 5. And this is another kind of low or 5. Can I make these 4 lows? Looks like I can with a 5, with a 3, with a 5, 6. Well, that's not low. Sorry, that's not 5 is what I meant to say. Essentially, this would have to be this. So if all of these are low, this would be 5, this would be 6. If any of these are 5, then we have 6 with something else. Dear, oh dear. Kind of wondering if I'm being slow now. Yeah, 2, 1, 2, 1. 2, 1, 2, 1. This 2 gives me a 6, a 2, not a 6, is a 6. That's not a 5, that's a low digit. 5 has to be on this side. And that means this has to be the 5, that's the 3. There are no 3s in here. We'll figure out what that means. That 5 gives me a 2, that's a 5. And I think that's probably enough to break it from here. I don't think the puzzle was as difficult as I made it seem. I probably should have pencil marked more. Sounds familiar. Somebody was just giving me such similar advice. And I guess scan a little bit better. That's kind of the conclusion of this. This is 1, 3, or 4. It is not 1 or 4. That's a 3. That's a 4. That's a 1. That's a 4. 1, 4, 3. And if I've not made any mistakes, hang on, I'm going to just finish coloring. 32 minutes. That is definitely not a 32-minute solve, but what can you say? It is a cloudy day. It's a beautiful puzzle. Thank you very much. Pardon me, Cloudly. I missed the L in the name there. But another phenomenal puzzle. Simple rule sets, but, you know, really does actually sort of push that combination of classic Sudoku and variants to actually be able to make some progress. Hope that you guys enjoyed the puzzle. I certainly did. The video, I'm sure it was frustrating at times, but at least it's solved. And take a look at, I'm probably going to say, this is actually, it's very hard to think about other puzzles that are like this. It's not just about German Whispers, it's not just about Killer Cage, it's not just about crop keys. So let's see what the YouTube algorithm is going to recommend to you next. Hope that you enjoy it. Bye-bye for now.